Welcome to Yellowstone Story. Every story holds a lesson, a twist, or a spark of inspiration. Here, we dive into gripping tales, some heartwarming, some shocking, but all unforgettable. So sit back, relax, and let's begin. I had been trying to conceive for a long time, but the years passed, and my hope faded. When despair became unbearable, I had a dream about my great-grandmother, a woman surrounded by legends, said to have been a witch. In that strange, heavy dream, she spoke to me calmly and confidently, promising to help. I would have a daughter, but I had to remember, she would inherit a gift. What kind of gift, no one knew. All I could do was wait and accept her as she was. Time passed, and soon I was truly pregnant. The girl was born beautiful, like a porcelain doll. Crimson lips, soft curls, and enormous brown eyes. Her gaze was so deep that, for a moment, a chill ran down my spine. But soon, everything seemed normal. She was just a child, except for being almost too beautiful. The years flew by, and my daughter grew up. Obedient, intelligent, and quick-witted, she was a joy to me, and an object of envy for others. She was remarkably gifted. By the age of 3, she could read, recognize numbers, and effortlessly memorize the multiplication table. I watched her with pride, amazed by her curiosity and sharp mind. But one day, something happened that truly frightened me. That day, our neighbor stopped by, asking for some apples for a pie. We exchanged a few words, and she left. My 4-year-old daughter, watching the interaction, calmly stated that the old woman would die soon. She said it as if simply stating a fact, then walked away to her room, leaving me completely stunned. 3 days later, the neighbor passed away in her sleep. I hoped that the dream about my great-grandmother was just a trick of my imagination, that my daughter hadn't inherited any kind of gift. But everything was turning out differently. Her words kept coming true. The next incident wasn't as frightening, but it still made me uneasy. One evening, my husband came home from work exhausted. My daughter walked up to him, gently ran her little hand across his cheek, and confidently told him that he would soon become a manager. He just laughed, brushing it off as a child's fantasy, and kissed her on both cheeks. My husband dismissed her words as innocent, childish imagination, but fate had other plans. Soon after, the factory manager suddenly passed away, and my husband, as an experienced and reliable worker, was promoted to take his place. He came home beaming with joy, and the first thing he did was ask our daughter how she could have possibly known about his promotion. But her response made him turn pale. Without a hint of doubt, she calmly stated that she knew something else about the woman he kissed at work when I wasn't around. He tried to explain himself, forcing an awkward smile, saying it was just a gesture of gratitude, nothing serious. But her next words sounded like a sentence. She said that soon I would find out everything myself, and that he would leave us. Something shifted in him at that moment. He looked at our daughter with an unreadable expression, as if, for the first time, he was truly afraid of her. He stood there in stunned silence, as if only now realizing that her words were not just random coincidences. For a moment, I saw fear flicker in his eyes, but he quickly averted his gaze, as if hoping this conversation had never happened. However, the truth soon came to light. His mistress called me. Now that he had secured a high position, she didn't want to lose her chance and decided that if I found out the truth, I would get rid of him myself. She told me everything, with cold calculation, with the confidence that her plan would work. And it did. I sat against the wall, feeling my world crumble around me. Everything I had built, everything I had believed in, turned out to be a lie. My daughter walked up to me, wrapped her arms around me, and quietly told me not to cry. Her father was a good man, but we would have someone better, someone rich. Her words were spoken so calmly, as if she already knew exactly what was ahead for me. Divorce was inevitable. Learning that I had been deceived for over a year was painful. I couldn't forgive him. And he didn't really try to make amends. He simply muttered an apology, kissed our daughter on the cheek, cautiously, as if afraid she would say something else he didn't want to hear, and then he left. We were alone now. Mary absorbed knowledge with the hunger of an adult. She saw the world differently from other children, and with each passing day I felt more and more that my child was anything but ordinary. My daughter was exceptionally advanced for her age. At 6, she read as if she had been in school for years, and her curiosity knew no bounds. She navigated the internet effortlessly, eagerly absorbing any knowledge that came her way. While other children played with dolls, she delved into topics that even many adults struggled to understand. When she turned 12, we visited a bookstore. She immediately walked over to a shelf displaying Madame Lenormand's cards. She picked up a box, looked at me, and firmly asked me to buy them. Surprised, I asked why she needed them. She simply responded, calmly and with certainty, that if she was asking, then it meant she needed them. From that moment on, the cards became her new passion. She studied them with incredible seriousness, as if she were recalling something long forgotten. One day, while laying out the cards on the kitchen table, she noticed that Madame Lenormand's first name was also Mary. Without hesitation, she declared that she would become the greatest fortune teller, just like her. Then, looking at me with unwavering confidence, she said that soon I would meet a man who would become not only my husband, but also a good father to her. I watched her steady gaze, her slender fingers effortlessly shuffling the cards, and felt a strange sensation growing inside me, a mix of curiosity and unease. I smiled at her prediction and jokingly said that I could manage just fine without a king. But, as it turned out, she was right once again. Just a week later, lost in thought, I was walking home when, right in front of my house, a car reversing down the street clipped me. The impact wasn't strong, but I lost my balance and fell. A woman nearby cried out, drawing the driver's attention. He slammed on the brakes, jumped out of the car, and rushed toward me. I didn't have time to say anything. He scooped me up in his arms, his eyes filled with concern. He kept repeating that he hadn't seen me, swearing that he had checked his mirrors, but somehow I hadn't been there. I tried to pull away, assuring him that I was fine. My side ached a little, but it was nothing serious. However, he insisted on taking me to the hospital. I felt flustered by his persistence, assuring him that I lived just nearby and that it was nothing to worry about. Finally, he set me back on my feet and took a good look at me, as if truly seeing me for the first time. "At least let me give you a ride," he offered. I laughed, pointing at my house. "It's just a few steps away, don't worry. It was my fault. I was lost in thought and didn't notice the car." He held my gaze for a moment, then smiled slightly and asked for my name. "Anna," I replied. I was about to leave, but as soon as I took a step, a sharp pain shot through my side. I winced and instinctively clutched the sore spot. "That won't do," he said firmly. "We're going to the hospital." There was no hesitation in his voice. And although I was used to handling things on my own, I suddenly realized that I didn't feel like arguing. The man was persistent. He didn't give me a chance to protest and practically guided me into his car, assuring me that his friend, a doctor, would check me quickly. Deep down, I knew it wasn't anything serious, but there was no point in resisting. At the hospital, the doctor confirmed my suspicion. It was just a bruise. A few days of discomfort, and I would be fine. "Matthew, this woman needs rest and care," the doctor said with a slight smile, giving my rescuer a knowing look. "You're responsible for this, so you should make up for it." "Gladly," he replied, turning to me. "I hope you won't refuse to accept a little care from me?" I looked at him, feeling a strange mix of emotions, mild pain, embarrassment, and an unfamiliar yet almost forgotten warmth from his concern. Unexpectedly, I nodded. When we returned home, the door swung open, and my daughter stood there, arms crossed. She looked at the man, then at me, and without a hint of hesitation declared, "Well, "Here's my future father. Let's get acquainted." She extended her hand to him as if sealing a deal, and he, unfazed, shook her small hand with a gentle smile. "Very pleased to meet you. I'd be more than happy to be the father of such a wonderful girl." And just like that, he became a part of our lives. Matthew was exactly the man my daughter had predicted. Wealthy, reliable, with a great sense of humor, caring and devoted. He quickly became part of our family, helping me recover and surrounding us with warmth. Then, when he realized he never wanted to lose us, he proposed. And this time, I had no doubts about my answer.